flip? Oh, we are flipped. Forgot. I wanted to go the other way. I'm gonna turn around. Pardon me. All right, so there we go. So today I have all kinds of things. I just haven't been on, and I have a great new summer program up, and I'm like, why aren't I telling anybody what's going on? Hello, welcome. If you're new, give me a thumbs up. I'd love to say hello. I have sketches that we did on Periscope that I would like to perhaps start rendering more paint on the illustrations with you guys today. But I also, before that, I wanted to talk about the fun of fabrics and get you inspired, because not everybody is in the habit of collecting swatches and creating fabric boards. And when we sketched these sketches here, any of you who are on Periscope with me, it was so long ago that it's not in my archive. It's actually in my YouTube archive, which I have to find. Hi, Karen! But these were the swatches that we had used when we sketched this group. KO, illustration in the house. Awesome bridal and fashion illustrator and teacher. Hi, hon. I was gonna go through talking about fabric swatches. I have a YouTube video. It's actually my most viewed YouTube video that's all about fabrics. And in my online course, I give a lot of resources too, because you really want to have, if you're gonna create a portfolio or make sketches that are design based, you really want to make sure you have fabric swatches. And I just came across these old books that I created of fabric concepts, because when you have groups of fabrics, you can get really excited about design. So I wanted to talk to you about like what's going on in here and get people excited about putting together their own fabric boards. Thanks, sweetheart. You always make me feel like I can conquer the world. So I'm flipping through this quickly, but I'll talk about what's going on. It's like at any point in your life, you'll have like a different universe of color and images at your disposal. Thank you. I'm feeling so like right now. But this I can be encouraging about. Anyone needs help with their drawing, I'm right there. So what happened here was I was working at a leather and fur company. We did Rockaware, BB, QVC, Burlington. Okay, yeah, it's kind of a small book. And I had a bunch of fabrics, spare fabrics I was bringing home from there. Then I had my own swatches that I just collected in the garment district in New York. And I also had, uh-oh, am I making a mess? I also had my stash, my big stash of Vlisco African prints. So what you're going to see here is like how all those things came together with the magazines I had on hand at the time, which is kind of funny that I don't use magazines that much these days. I wonder if that will change, if I'll, you know, shift back. I've noticed magazines are getting thicker again, and they're getting, they've changed a lot back to a square format, and that's like, I love that. It's a lot of fun. So what's happened? I love your mix of large and small. Thanks for pointing that out. I'm definitely a fabric mixer. I don't know if you can even tell that this is like a pinstripe, this fabric right here. This is also pinstripe. This is actually from Target. I was working at Target. Actually, it was a private label company. We did all the swimwear for Target. So this was a shirting fabric. This one has some lycra in it. And actually, I'm also realizing now, all my stripes are running this way. And the fact is, those fabrics really run this way, like on the bolt. So I usually, whenever I make a fabric board, hi, please say hello if you're new. I'd love to welcome you. Any fabrics that are running this way, like I always put them on my board the way they would be used or worn. So that's why those are vertical. Thank you for sharing out. I love you so much. The other things going on here with this fabric board is, you know, a color palette emerges, right? So I have these like sort of pastel tones, bright pink, and then a super dark color and a super light. What I think of when I'm making fabric boards is I think of different fabric weights. I think of like What would be a weight for a jacket or a pant or, you know, something heavier? What would be a super light layering piece within the group, like be under jackets or for a really light dress? You want to think about what season it is. And I think a lot of times people think of color when they think of seasons, but really you want to think of fabric weight for a season more than color, because you really have the freedom to wear any colors you want. Hey, thanks for joining me. I have this issue where when I'm scoping down here and my camera is up here. Yeah, exactly. You want to be able, you're such a, you're like my dream student. Yes, you want to be able to make a whole wardrobe out of the mix. So sometimes my eyes don't adjust quickly enough when I look up at the comments. So I'm trying to catch like names. The names are kind of faint. I have a lot of leathers here because I worked for a leather company, but I am very much into ethical fashion and really keeping things as natural and kind all across the board as they can be. But I had so many of these suede swatches. And these are Velisco prints. Wait, oh, this is from ABC. I don't think this company exists anymore, but if you're a fanatic of African prints, this is an English wax by a company called ABC. I think they don't exist anymore, but they did in the 90s. I discovered them when I was in Paris. And this one is by Velisco. Fashion not my thing, but you love my educational scope. Well, thank you so much, and I appreciate you stopping by. Are you an artist? Well, thanks. You could decorate a room as well, right? So I guess, you know, I'm getting hung up on this. Maybe I'll keep going. So this is another group. I've actually designed a set of illustrations. When I created Parsons School Design's fashion online course, this is actually the fabric board that I worked from. So this is actually a tie fabric. But to this day, this motif. Oh, you're a graphic design student. That's awesome. Nice to meet you, and thanks for coming on. Where are you located? So this is about orange and blue. I like complementary colors. Orange and blue make me really happy. This is a Pucci print. You see Pucci? Wait. Emilio. And again, I mentioned that earlier. I use double stick tape when I make these boards. Welcome newcomers. Welcome replay viewers. So I have a solid suede. I have this orange suede, and then this is a silk Pucci print. You do? Oh, you're in South Africa. Oh my gosh. I'm so like Africa obsessed. I hope I get to visit someday. Huh, I found beads on here. I don't know how that happened. They stuck to the double stick tape. I really hope I can come to South Africa someday. And this is like a stretch tulle. It's a knit that's super sheer, and I love that it has this huge, it's a huge scale motif, and I love large scale. As you can see, these are all, my work is very inspired by West African fashion that I discovered when I lived in Paris. So you can see all these mixed prints, and yet they all match, right? Ah, it's cold this time of year. Not even here in Connecticut. It's nice and warm. So this is later I'll show you guys the illustrations that I did with this. Thank you so much for hearts and for inviting followers. Oh, I just found this. This may have been part of the board. Although I'm not sure that I'm crazy about it, because I feel like these are really cool feeling colors, and that this print is a lot hotter. There's a lot more like orange in it. I'm not sure that it goes. But again, what I was talking about at the beginning of the scope, there's different weights. I love you, sweetie. Thanks for coming. Oh, thank you so much. I'm following you, girl. Do you scope too? Oh, yes, you do. I see that you scoped recently. So not all of these can be pulled out of the plastic. I know the plastic's distracting because it reflects. Some of these swatches I also picked up at fabric shows. A fabric show I went to in Manhattan that like right before I did this book. So I had taken an image from a magazine, which is a great idea to take an image. I want to take this board out of the way because it distracts by the color. Hi, Kingpin. Somehow that name Kingpin, I had a feeling. I'm like, it must be a guy. This is another Velisco print. This is actually a jacquard You can't see it. It's called Bazin, B-A-Z-I-N, is really popular with the African prints. So like there's a pattern woven into it that's just green on green. Hello, welcome. And then it's got like a tropical, not very typical print built into it with the birds. And then what I mixed in with that was this yarn dyed plaid, some stretchy fabrics. So this is a jersey. This is a much thicker jersey with strong texture to it. Thanks everyone who's hopping on. I appreciate the hearts. I appreciate the shares. Here's a taffeta. So here I was going for these really like, you know, it's really a color story, but it's also very lightweight fabrics. So I definitely know where I'm going with this. You know, if I have this picture here that inspires also, there's beading, dresses. So it can be really helpful. Hi, nice to meet you. I don't even know if I introduced myself today. I'm Laura Volpentesta. I'm a fashion designer and illustrator. I'm the founder of Fashion Illustration Tribe, which is an online learning community for fashion illustration because I've been teaching at Parsons for 20 years. Oh, honey, you are so kind. I got to go check out your scope and heart it up too now, Kingpin. I'd love to know what your influences are in graphic design and what you're into, what you're interested in. I would love to know. I remember at this time I was very inspired by junior fashions. So you have these young, especially because I noticed that in the junior fashion magazines there was a lot of optimistic, happy, candy color. So I got into that a lot. This is another image. And so my fabric swatches, again, I use double stick tape to make the inspiration board. The thing is, once you make a board like this, you can come back to it later and sketch from it. So this is a sheer, crepey, poly gauze. It even has some metallic gold sprinkle onto it, which Karen would love. There's a pearly fake leather. And then there's a really washed out, this is another gauzy, excuse me, not gauze, crinkled fabric. Oh my gosh, you have an exam tomorrow? Everyone's like out of school by now here. I love how your hearts, I'm choking on something, match the scope. So this is another spread. And when you have a 2-page spread, whether it's in a portfolio or whether it's in your just like a swatch book or whatever, it really makes sense when it's all one story, right? Because if I put this here, you know, these stories don't enhance each other. They actually fight each other, right? So always think about keeping something really cohesive and delicious. So I did this, oh my gosh, this might be 10 years old. So here's 2 boards that enhance each other again. And I brought back the Poochie print. And what else do we have here? More pieces from the leather company I worked for at the time. And a lot of, okay, so this is a Poochie print. Italian silk, beautiful. I don't even know where I scored that awesome swatch. This is really popular in the African market, the eyelets. I love it. They come in solid color. They're so pure and light and airy. Here's a jersey. I like to always have a knit in the group because there's so much you can do with knits, and especially as like foundation pieces, like tank tops, t-shirts, camis, whatever. This is another traditional Velasco Dutch wax African style print, and suedes. And then this is like a suede look-alike, but it's just a synthetic fabric that's printed. Thank you so much for stopping by, Kingpin. I hope to catch your scope. I see that you have one up, a recent one, so I'm going to check it out. Lynn, it's all about color. Thanks for stopping by. Thank you for the hearts. I appreciate so much. Oh, yeah, you have to catch the replay, too, because we've been going for a few pages now, creating fabric boards. Let me open this up again. I'm making a big mess of my book now. So taking illustration, oh, I'm so glad you did. Well, it isn't that hard if I'm on, right? The thing is, I haven't been on. I'm like, I don't know why I'm resisting doing what I love most. I get overwhelmed. It's like I don't know what to teach about first. So this tile floor, you know, inspired me to use this African print. Actually, it's Dutch wax print by Velisco, which I love. I had like 6 or 12 yards of this, so I've used this fabric a lot. It's very traditional. You'll see it a lot. This is suede, again, from the leather company I used to work for. And you can see how all these colors work together. So the fun thing is, if you can have some fabric swatches, or Lynn, you know, in your case as well, knit swatches, which I have samples around. Even the simplest swatch, you take that knit swatch and mix it with some images. It doesn't have to be magazine fashion images either. It could be art, it could be words, it could be anything. Same boat. Right. I feel like we have I hope we have so much in common. I just feel so kindred every time you post anything. That don't even get me started. That post about cutting down the trees with your friends in girl clothes with a chainsaw, that was just so beautiful. I really think we do. And it's interesting to me when I'm out there on the internet, the feeling I get about my my Periscope friends, these relationships that have grown over time, is really remarkable and valuable, heartfelt thing. And you, my dear, are such a vital part of our communities. You know, you really like make connections and keep things going, and I love that. I'm gonna turn the page here. This is another example, like I said earlier, where you want to make sure if you have two side by side there, you're going to want them to relate to each other somewhat. So I felt like both of these were like about cocoa brown with pastel. Thank you for the hearts, Lynn. I love cocoa brown with pastels. That's just something I always love. So, you know, I had images with her, it's the makeup. With her, it's what she's wearing and just the whole colors in the photo. This was all very summer inspired. So I'm going to bring it up a little closer. Hang on. So you can see the swatches closer. This is a very lightweight cotton with a really large pattern. Wow, I used to have yards of this. I loved it. It was a French fabric. And the motifs were huge. And they look very like block cut and very kind of African inspired. This is swirly kind of faux leather look, polyester. This is, you saw this on the previous board. It's a Velisco Dutch wax print. And then of course, again, I always have like a knit in the mix, because we want to talk about, as Karen mentioned earlier, you know, a whole wardrobe. You want to be able to have like different weights for heavier and lighter, and solids and patterns, perhaps, depending what your taste is and what the season is and who the customer is. But I like having different weights, different scales of pattern, and I like having some knits as well as some wovens. Although I tend to be very, I like wovens a lot. I like crisp, light fabrics so much. Welcome, newcomers. Well, thanks for stopping by. We're going through a book of fabric boards. I have a bolt of retro flamingo on black, making a peplum top. I saw you do a flamingo skirt. It wasn't on black though, right? Here are some more. It's funny how every swatch has a story. I remember buying this yardage right here. This is a knit, a stretch knit that looks lacy, and it actually has like a 3D embossing on it, which is really cool. I bought that in the Garment District. This is African-esque, but not. Hello from Malaysia. Oh, I'm really happy to have you. That's so exciting. Welcome. Here's a very lightweight lilac eyelet, and you see how those all tie into each other. Thank you for inviting your followers. Let me know if you have any questions, anything in specific you'd like to talk about. This is a pearly velvet that's very silky with a long nap. The nap is like how long the flocking is on the velvet, and it's not a stretch velvet, it's a woven velvet. Very silky. This is also a velvet. This one's a quote-unquote burnout. Turquoise Kids 12 fabric. Yes, yes, yes. I remember that one. So you do a lot of flamingo, don't you? So this is a burnout. I don't know if you can see it. It has almost like an animal print pattern in it. So it's not just a solid velvet. It has like a pattern cut into it. And then this is also from when I worked at Target. It's just a stretch pinstripe with a metallic in it. The metallic is called, we call Lorex, the metallic yarns. And it looks like there's another swatch hiding back there. Isn't that funny? I had no idea. This is a bazin, which is an African, for the African market. It's a solid colored cotton with a, do you see that it has a pattern in it? This one's floral. They're not always floral though, which I think is really cool. They're often geometric. Did you do it on your own? Yes, I did. I did it. I actually was preparing it for one of my Parsons classes. I also just did it out of the pure joy. So I never designed a group out of this though, but I could still sketch. You know, even this pearly fabric here. Thanks for hopping on, guys. Thank you. I love to do this. This is the kind of stuff, you see the pearly here and then the pearly effects in there, you know. So one photo can really inspire you to bring things together. This is what we do in my online course as well. Not only do we learn fashion drawing and sketching, but we really think about concept and telling stories and collecting and bringing things together. These are only fabric swatches, but if you had beads, feathers, trims, zippers, anything, you could add it in too. So appreciate you inviting followers. And I was telling you earlier that I was working like with a junior theme. Brian has a Ghanaian shirt with white on white fabric, machine embroidery, asymmetrical neck. Asymmetrical, how cool. Is the embroidery like that yellowish gold? I'm so curious. But if it's white on white, then I bet it's a bazin. The B-A-Z-I-N. The bazin fabric, which is, what do you call it? It's like a woven, the pattern's woven in as a texture. I love that. And I'd be curious to know if it's, what do you call it? If it's geometric or floral. Ah, silvery gray. Okay. Ooh, you're going to have to scope it. Scope it. Bring this up closer. Gosh, there are so many swatches in here. Okay. There are so many swatches in here from my job where we were working with leathers. It was mostly Rockaware leather, but we did a lot of other private label for different companies. Yes, so a lot of these are from different sources. These are from swatches from African fabric companies. There are a lot of different ones I was using at the time. These are swatches of fabrics actually. This is a fabric I actually bought in the garment district. This was from my job as well when I worked in leather. This printed leopard leather. This pinstriped stretch cotton is from Target, working for Target. This is from Rockaware. But you don't have to work for a company to get swatches. So you can also, you can go to fabric stores and get swatches. You can swatch vintage garments, and you can contact fabric companies. I do have a YouTube video that's all about fashion fabrics. It does give some sources of places to get you started looking for swatches, because the fact is, if you ask me, you know, having thank you, having swatches, you know, lots of swatches, and then just kind of dumping them out and bringing them together. Now, if you're designing a line, you're going to really need to know where each fabric is coming from and how much it costs and how figure out how much you need and everything. Oh, I think I'm going to keep this in the group. But you do that with yarns, right? Right. But if you're creating a portfolio or illustrations or just getting piles, getting your ideas rolling, you know, it's okay to start by just, what do you call it? Flexing your muscle. You know, put these together. It doesn't matter if you can get them. It doesn't matter where you got them. You know, you could get clothes secondhand that are being donated, and cut them up if you have to. Oh my gosh, my battery is so low. I think I'm gonna have to close out super soon. But before I do, wait a second, I found a really nice, I really like this group here. It looks like I never really laid it out. And speaking of what Lynn was just saying, here are some yarns. These yarns are from going to a fabric show in New York City. They would have you know, color trends for that year, and they'd have these huge spools of yarn, not really for knitting, but actually just for color reference. Frankly, I don't like anyone telling me what the colors are going to be for a year. You know, I think that's like a crime. Use whatever colors you want. This is English wax print by ABC Textiles. Just love it. From the 90s. I don't think ABC Textiles is in business anymore. But you can see how all these colors kind of work together. This is a heavyweight hemp. And look, for example, this is a company you could order swatches from. American Hemp Mercantile. 100% hemp fiber. There's lots of different companies you can reach out to and get swatches, get swatch kits. And then the great thing about that is then you know how much they cost and where to get more. I remember these were swatches I also ordered from a company that I don't have contact. This is a velvet, stretchy velvet by Symphony. I remember that now. Symphony Knits, I believe. You can see how these colors are all coming together. And what was unusual about these African prints, my battery may die very soon, but is that they're all two-tone, which you don't always see two-tone African prints. So I wanted to share, you know, love it. Hello. Yes, get recycled items. I mean, unless you're sure you're going to produce a line out of it. If you're more on the creative side, because I'm very much into joy of fashion, you know, a fashion industry, I think joy is like the last thing anyone talking about. I'm into fashion, joy, and creativity first. Here's another hemp swatch. It's very different feeling than the other, very heavy. I may wash these. Oh my God, you're right. Lynn, you're my best friend. Yes, you're right. I'm going to lose my video. So what I'm going to do is just quickly flip through this without talking about it, and I'm going to turn off and come back soon. Okay. More ideas. So images plus swatches. And for those of you who haven't met me, I'm going to do a quick... I'm in a strapless dress. Now it looks like I'm not wearing anything. Hang on. Hello. There I am. Thank you for joining me. I'm Fashion Illustration Tribe on Instagram. Fashion Tribalistas is our Facebook group. And I'm so happy to meet you. Thanks for joining me. Thanks for hearts and for sharing. And my summer program registration is open now. So that's probably, is that backwards for you guys? I bet it is. Well, anyway, and I'm Laura Volpatesta. I'm so happy to meet you, and I'll be scoping again soon. It's not backwards? Really? Here I am. And it's really trying to get the word out about my course for the summer too. Thanks for joining. Thanks for hearts. Thanks for shares. And I hope to see you again really soon. I know I'm going to see you, Color Joy Lynn, on all the webs. Instagram, Facebook group, Perry Crafters, and I'm so glad that I will. Have a blessed day. And let's make some music too, right? Thank you so much. Please follow me so we can stay in touch. Let me just, I didn't even get to say hello to you. Hi, Andy. Oh, I'm already following you. Awesome. Sorry, Mohammed, you'll have to catch the replay. Thanks for joining us. Bye-bye.